Hello, you wonderful lot. Welcome back to Pommy and All's. Hope we're all doing really well. It's Monday. We're the end of January. That is crazy, isn't it? Time flies when we're having fun. We're back with more Best 22s. I'm excited about this one because it's my own team. So I've had a couple of weeks where I've been talking about your teams. We're going to really smash these out. We're going to try and get these done by midweek, so we might treat you to double uploads, which will be exciting. Pulse of call, make sure you like and subscribe. We're really increasing the membership, which is really good. We are doing a giveaway. One of these bad boys will be given away on the 4th, a $100 prepaid gift voucher. That will be a members-only live stream on the 4th of Feb. So the cut-off is February the 4th, midnight. So when I go live in the evening, the names will be there. So no obligation. Be a bit of fun, though. We'll have a bit of a chat. We'll kick back. We'll relax. But let's get into this. So obviously we're doing the Carlton 22. We did one a wee bit earlier in the year, so some things have changed just by what I've noticed, reading the reports, having a bit of a think about it. So let's have a go. Let's do it. So you can play along at home. I'd love to know your lines, but this is the full back line I've gone. I've gone Mitch McGovern, Jacob Weitering, and Caleb Marchbank. Now, a lot of people go about the height, and if you've seen the other ones, I do like a little bit of height in my back line. I think the way the modern game's going now is the stereotypes of the 80s and the 90s is dying, and taller people are getting a lot more agile anyway. Now, Mitch McGovern, when you see him play, one of the fastest at the club, has one of the fastest recorded times in sprints, so that breaks the mould. Very good user, and Marchbank is very capable. And I think when I look at how Vossi lacks and what he wants to do, makes sense. Both incredibly strong intercept, both incredibly strong aerially, both decent on the deck as well, both very good users. When you've got Weitering in there as well, I think that is formidable. And I think the big thing at Carlton this year is going to be rotation, and that is what I've done with this round 122. Obviously, I've got no Walsh, so that's going to make some little changes, and we'll talk about them yet. But I think that that's a fairly solid full back line, honestly. I can't see anyone in the world beating that in the terms of what they're predicting with Carlton. I think if we had Vossi here now, he would be like, that is my preferred three. So that's just me, but I do think it. Then the half-back line. This is where it gets really exciting, and this is, I think, got something about it. Adam Sard, very game-changing ability. Carlton's ability on transition last year was kind of inconsistent. Sometimes it was great. We saw the back half of the Richmond game round one, where Carlton suddenly found it. We saw it against Hawks in the first half, and then it disappeared. It's finding that happy balance between very being counter-offensive, but also keeping an eye on defence. And I think with the acquisitions that we're going to talk about later, that helps. But Adam Sard is a key component of that. Particularly his numbers in the pressure. His numbers in pressure genuinely get higher and better, which is incredibly important for Carlton. And then another player that we're really missing is Zach Williams. Very assured, very good user of the football, very composed when he has it. Someone that I think Vossi will be keeping everything he has crossed, that'll be fit. But that is a very potent half-back line. And Lewis Young, this time last year, probably wasn't in the best 22s. I do believe he was in mine. I'll have to go back and check. But someone who took an opportunity due to an injury of McDonald, flew with it, and has really added some facets to his game in 2022. And I expect more layers. And in my opinion, I think Lewis Young and Jacob Weitering potentially has the pairing of the best key defensive combo in the league. And that might be a bold call, and you might say, come on, Pom, that's Carlton bias. But genuinely, what I've seen so far, I think they've built a synergy. And I think a lot of Carlton fans got really overzealous with Liam Jones. And I'm not discrediting Liam Jones as a footballer, but I don't think he's as good as Carlton fans made out. A lot of them numbers any idiot could get when Carlton were hemorrhaging inside 50s against. Like that, I'd expect the numbers to be high. What Lewis Young does really well is his ability to allow the other tools around him to operate. And he was an integral part of Carlton's really good defence against transition in the early part of the year because it allowed Weitering to be free. And I think, again, this is going to be something that's very important. But I like that half-back line. I think it's got the synergy that it's needed, and particularly the kicking prowess to do some damage. The centre line, I've done something that I go against. Adam Cerra starts on the wing with Cripps and Akers. The reason is I think that the wing is going to be heavily, heavily rotated. It has to be. And I think with the acquisitions we've got, I genuinely do think you're going to see Binsey, particularly Hollands, be key features of Carlton from about round 6. That's my prediction. And I think you're going to see a lot of rotation. Now, I've done this because Doc will be playing predominantly midfield time. I suspect, injuries permitted, that you're going to see a lot of rotation there. Fisher, Doc, Walsh, Cerra. A lot on the ball, but they're going to rest out there and add some dynamic with Hollands there who can play 90%. And the top teams genuinely have a 95% winger, which will be Akers, and then an 80%, and then the rest is rotated through, where Carlton last year had to spend a lot of time having Cerra and Walsh almost 50% on the wing, which is really negating their influence. But I do feel early doors while Walsh is out, he will start there, but I think he'll have 60-70 on the ball. But I do think he'll start there. Cripps doesn't need any introduction. Top 3 in the league. Do you know what I mean? If not the best. Blake Akers, for me, another player Carlton needed. Someone that isn't going to give you a 10 out of 10 game, but he isn't going to give you a 2 out of 10 game. He's going to give you 7s every week. And that there creates a little bit of freedom. Taller than the average bear. Very strong defensively. Decent offensively, finds his own pill, keeps his width, which is incredibly important for Carlton. So I expect that to be the 3. I do. I really do. And I've gone against my own thing. The half-forward line, though, gets exciting. I reckon it'll go J. Mark, Curnow and Fisher. Jack Martin is someone that I think is at risk in this team. I do, with the injuries. And I do think there's some guys there that's going forward. I think there's a great argument to go smaller in the half-forward line and really flood that. By that, I mean, Binsey did play there natively at high half-forward. And I can see that argument going down the track. Jack Martin is one of them players, though, that has to watch himself. Josh Honey will be a guy that will be looking at that position and going in his mind. Now, what Jack Martin does is for every quarter you have against Richmond where he takes them apart, you have games where he just goes anonymous. So Jack Martin's got to find that happy medium. That comes with injury, that comes with continuity. But there is no doubt when Jack Martin is fit and playing his best, he is A grade and he can change the game. Zach Fisher is a guy that I think has gone leaps and bounds. Someone that this time last year probably people were thinking, is he best 22? Really took it, and again that rotation. Carlton become very one-dimensional, particularly in the back half of the year. Maybe due to injury, maybe due to fear, maybe due to whatever it is. But that started to become the same 4 in there. And then when it started to get away from them, we saw the rotation where, in my opinion, Carlton played better, even though we fell short them 2 games that we're talking about. But I do think that that's something that Voss wants. And that is definitely the next layer of this game plan. We hemorrhaged goals against Teague. We were very poor defensively. The fact that Voss has added stiffness, we have to create that dynamic in the forward line, and it's trying to find that happiness, because you can't just rely on Curnow and Mackay, as good as they are. Full forward, I think Carlton will add this dynamic. Owies is very good. Top tackler inside 50, incredibly important to Carlton. But I do think moving forward, Motlop averaged the same per game. So given the opportunity, and particularly in the back half of the year, usurped Owies in that department. What he brings, though, his ability to change the game, and we saw that. We saw how good Pickett was against Carlton. That Motlop is that ilk. Durden, for me, the battler, the workhorse. He sets the standard, and Harry needs no introduction. This 6 we've talked about, on paper, remember the game's played on grass, is a flag-winning forward line, without a shadow of a doubt. And that is because you've got McKay and Curnow there. You could play me and Barry from the Dog and Dog, and you're always in with his shout with that forward line. Carlton have started to got some crafty forwards, particularly these 2 here. There's Josh Honey, who isn't in the 22, who in my opinion has something, and someone that you've got to keep an eye on this year. But I think that that's a very strong 15. To complete the 18, the followers, and this is going to be very important. And here he is, Doc. Doc and Hewitt, for me, is very important. And we haven't seen them play together on the ball. But we saw enough, in my opinion, of what Doc can do on the ball to say that this two pairing here is very exciting. I think for Carlton to win a flag, Sam Walsh has got to find some half-forward time. And we saw that at the early part. We saw that in the latter part of David Teague. That is where his best game is if you can rest him there and not on the wing, that's where he can change the game. And you want him running inside 50. I think moving forward, this is probably going to be the trio. Now, there's a great argument about Peter and TDK. I honestly do not see the TDK hype. I don't. I think he's a very good young ruckman. He's coming to that year now where you'd expect him to go, so that might change this time next year. But Pitternet wins taps. Pitternet, when he's fit, holds his candle to the best 9 ruckmen in the league. And that is integral. People, I think when they look at TDK, look at Carlton Teague, Carlton Bolton, where the midfield was boring. Now it's exciting, so they don't need a dynamic ruckman who's going to get 30 a game and change the game. You look at Collingwood, they added dynamic midfield. They had options in that midfield. Grundy didn't become as important because Cameron just had to win taps and just be a body. Pitternet is the better body out of TDK. What TDK adds, and he is in this team, spoiler, is his versatility. And for me, when he's playing down the back behind the ball, that's when you saw Wheater in and Young do their best work defending transition. He's not a forward. I don't know where that comes from. We've seen him up forward. He ain't that good. Pitternet does snag when he goes forward because he's a body, and I think that is so important. So for me, I think Matt Pitternet, without a shadow of a doubt, Matt Pitternet is the number 1 ruckman at Carlton. And I don't think there's an argument because you can't pick a team on potential. You pick a team on real ability. The issue I've got with Pitternet is the guy is one uneven step away from not playing. And that is something he's got to sort out. But going into this, positive mindset, he will be fit for all the games. Carlton will be fine. Carlton will be fine. Then the interchange bench. This is, I think, a really solid interchange bench. And we're going to start from right to left because I can guarantee the 2 pillars of this are going to get the most questions. Nick Newman, for me, when you look at the makeup of the team, you need someone who's reliable. Again, a 6.5 out of 10 footballer. You're going to have to rotate that halfback position. You're going to have to. We saw Sard get a little bit of wing time go forward. Carlton are going to have to do that again. And that is going to be very important early doors without Walsh. Walsh, you are losing a lot of kilometres per game. So someone's got to pick that up. It's impossible for someone to pick it up. So that'll be spread. Nick Newman allows that high energy all the time because what you see is what you get. Is he long-term going to win you a flag? No, he's not. However, long-term, you need to pick a team on reliability. I think it would be crazy for Carlton, in my opinion, if I was picking the team, to put someone there who's dynamic and take a risk. So, for me, Nick Newman, workhorse, battler, clubman of the year, I think he would be in it. Matty Kennedy, lock, because that frees Cripps up. So we saw when Hewitt and Kennedy played, Cripps was better because of how hard they work. Kennedy, for me, again, will slot on that half forward as well. A little bit of a rest, allowing Fisher to add some foot speed in the midfield, which people say Carlton lost. I don't quite believe it. I think it's more the way the ball moves, not the foot speed. But Kennedy, so integral. Jesus, again, half forward. Do I think he'll pinch hit in the ruck? No, I don't. I think he may take some forward bounces, though. And they will allow Mackay to stay in the square, which was quite successful for Carlton last year. But Jesus, he's another player that I think will, again, be on the borderline. Now, I know because of his name, he instantly is in 22. But I do think that the third forward is the issue at Carlton. The third forward, and that is why TDK is there. I think that allows one of Pitternet and them to slide there. It certainly allows Cripps, certainly allows with this dynamic to add that third. That is probably the big thing, particularly if J-Mark goes down. Now, my question is Jack Silvani and Jack Martin good enough to be a full-time third forward? My jury's still out. Jack Martin because of continuity, and Jesus because of pure raw ability. I do think that there is X factor that he hasn't got. I think, again, he falls in the Newman category for me. Just very reliable, and will do anything in resilience. I love Jesus, though. That's not discrediting him, but I do think that is a position that some young kid will be looking at. And Jack, this year, he had a bit of a wasted year last year playing in the ruck. This year is the year, the go time. And a player here that he can cement his legacy in this year. And I think he's good enough to do it. I really do. That's where the jury's out there. He's got to do that consistently. He's got to be that 25-35 goal-kicking forward to take the pressure off. And he's definitely got the footy IQ and the smarts. And I do want to see him roaming up the half-forward flank to get that kick inside, because I think that's his strength. TDK, I do think Carlton will play 2 ruckmen. I know there's a debate, do you do it? But I just think when you look at the best moments of last year, it was when we had that ability to play in behind the ball and create that little defensive wall. And that is the niche there of Voss's game. It was there at Port, it's there at Carlton. I think it's a very, it comes back from Lee Matthews. Lee Matthews liked to float players behind the ball to create them defensive traps to hit teams on transition. So I do think that is a staple. And I do think Carlton will play 2. I do just think with their makeup of their team. The ones to watch, some really exciting ones. And I want to spend maybe 2 minutes talking about these. But all 4 of here have players in the top 22 that these guys have something they don't have. Brodie Kemp, for me, is the intercepting defender that Carlton need. Highly athletic, highly quick. Very, very good kick as well. Very good vision. Up there with McGovern. And if he can stay fit, and I do think he's just had a horrible run with that ACL. Last year, he had that horrible run with everyone getting injured. I think now he's got a bit of continuity in Carlton, know where his best position is, which there's no doubt. There's no midfield evidence. Get that out of your head. Take the midfield, throw it in the bin. Don't know where it's come from. He played a handful of games. His best position is that third toe. Potentially swingman in the future, but he will never play midfield, AFL level, long term. May pinch it, won't be a 50-60% midfielder. It'll be a break glass in case of emergency. And I think this guy here, I've got a feeling that you won't see McGovern, Marchbank and Kemp, all 3 on the list next year. I think 1 will go. And I think Kemp will get rid of one of the other 2. I'm really hot on him. I really like him. Keep an eye on him because he has got something, I'm telling you. Remember him at juniors, the way he moves, the way he is very smooth. And you see it in training and you see it in VFL. And he's that high half-forward position, he was moving every week. Back, forward, back, forward. That is really hard to do. Didn't take him long, though, to get up to speed and really show the signs. Binzi is a guy that I think, at high half-forward, is incredibly integral moving forward. We like Jesus for his entries inside 50. We like players like Cottrell because of their endeavour. This guy here runs all day, incredibly quick, but he's very direct. And watching him at juniors and interviewing him as well, I really like Binzi. I fell in love with him when I interviewed him. His directness is so important to Carlton. So important. Doesn't piss about with the ball. And him kicking into Mackay and Kerner really excites me. Ollie Holland, genius. A genius with the football and will be guaranteed to play 15 games this year and change what you think of a wingman. This guy here runs incredibly hard 2 ways. Look out. He is... I had to rein myself in not to pick him in the first 22. First 22. He will be close. Keep an eye out for him. And the cow, the moo cow. One of my favourite players in the draft. We talked about him at length. Absolute superstar. And this guy here is someone that you may see take that back pocket role. Certainly will be looking at Newman's position because he is incredibly consistent. Second only to Will Ashcroft in fantasy points. Now that's not much of a measure, but it shows you his output. That's all fantasy does. Shows you your output on an offensive chain. Defensively incredibly strong and an incredible size. Tell you what, all 4 of them players will be features of Carlton by the age of 23. By the end. Very excited about them. Very excited. Can't hide my excitement about them. But that is my mental 22. Carlton will keep doing a rolling one because that may change again. May find a way to bring Cotters back in. Maybe O'Brien, you never know. But I've just got a feeling that is how Carlton will go. Let me know in the comments. Looking forward to doing more clubs. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Join that comp if you want. It's about $2.99. So it's not that much to win $100. Look after yourselves. See you soon. Pom out.